All these preaching brotherhoods and all these people that make up the house of God, Dr. Marcel and what's your name? Alexis. You did a beautiful job. Like Georgia. All my Memphis, Tennessee people, to Reverend Butler, Aisha, and all of you. As I always say every time I get up, it is indeed good to be in the house of the Lord one more time. I mean, we standing on top of the ground, but the ground is not standing on top of us. You just miss your praise, brother. I said we standing on top of the ground, but the ground is not standing on top of us. I said we standing on top of the ground, but the ground is not standing on top of us. The Bible says you ought to make a joyful noise unto the Lord, because He is a good God, and if He's a good God, He must can do some great things. Can anybody just thank God for being a good God? Can anybody just thank God for being a good God? Anybody just thank God? Thank you to thank God for being a good God. When you stand to your feet and thank God for being a good God, He didn't bring you this far to leave you. I'm telling you, He didn't bring you this far to leave you. And since you're here, if the Lord is to act like you want to, if nobody is to act like you want to, because He's a good God and He can do some great things. Somebody lift your hands and tell God thank you. I don't know how I'm standing right there, but somebody lift your hands and tell God thank you. Somebody lift your hands and tell God thank you. Somebody lift your hands and tell God thank you. Acts 27. Thank you, Jesus. 27, chapter. I'm sorry, verse 23. I'm going to pick a couple of verses that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to forbid you for your reading. And it says, last night an angel of God, whom I serve and whom I stood beside, and said, do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar. And God has graciously given you the lives of all who sail with you. Drop down to verse 33. Just before dawn, Paul urged them all to eat. For the last 14 days, he said, you have been in consistent suspense and have gone without food and have not eaten anything. Drop down. And then he said in verse 34, it's just one sentence I want to read. Not one of you will lose a single hair from your head. Verse 38, when they had eaten as much as they wanted, they lightened the ship by throwing away the grains into the sea. Verse 40, pay close attention to this one. Cutting loose the anchors, they left them into the sea, and at the same time untied the ropes that held the rudders. Drop over to verse 41. I want to read that last piece. The boat struck fast and would not move, and the stern was broken to pieces by the pondering of the surf. Verse 44, the rest were to get there on planks or pieces of the ship. In this way, everyone reached land safely. And finally, chapter 28. Once safely on shore, we found out that the island was called Attila. The island showed us unusual kindness. They built a fire and welcomed us all because it was raining and cold. Paul gathered, pay close attention to this. Paul gathered a pile of brushwoods, which in other words means sticks. Watch this. And as he put it on the fire, a vapor, which means snake. Watch this. Driven out by the heat, fastened itself on his hands. When the islanders saw the snake hanging from his hand, they said to each other, this man must be a murderer, for though he had escaped from the sea, justice has not allowed him to live. But Paul shook off the snake. Pay close attention. But Paul shook off the snake into the fire and suffered no illness effect. The people expected him to swell up or suddenly fall dead. But after waiting a long time, seeing nothing unusual happen to him, they changed their minds and said he was a god. And finally, I want to read Romans 8:28. We all should know that. And all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. And if I can just preach for a task for today, I want to talk about it's in his hands. Look at somebody and say it's in his hands. Musicians, watch me. Look at somebody and say it's in his hands. Look at somebody and say it's in his hands. So the text talks about Paul and how Paul was on a shipwreck. And notice what happened in the shipwreck. Paul had an angel to comfort him. She said, don't worry about anything, Paul. God got you covered. And many times in life, what God will do, sometimes when it looks like life is about to get the best of us, God will send an angel, would you talk back to me, to comfort us and tell us, don't be alarmed, Alvin, everything is going to be all right. So that's what I want to talk about today. It's in his hands. It's in his hand. So Paul said, look, we know that the storm is about to come over, and we know this ship might break into pieces. So he said, look, what I want you to do, I want you to go ahead and eat, go ahead, chill, go ahead, relax. Don't you worry about a thing because it's in his hands. So if you pay close attention to the text, if you pay close attention, he said, look, I want you to eat. You're going to need it to survive. Don't worry about a thing because the angel came to me and told me that you won't lose anything, not even a single hair on your head because God simply has you in his hands. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? So once they got in the storm, they hit a big rock. Ship broke into pieces. Everybody got scared. Cats started meowing. Dogs started barking. Everybody got scared. Paul didn't get scared. Why? Because if you read verse 44, the Bible says that Paul had enough faith to tell everybody that was on the ship with him, watch this, hear me when I say this. Paul had enough sense to tell these people that was on the ship that God will take you in on broken pieces. You missed that. So finally, they made it over to land safe. So once they made it safe, Paul got over there. It was kind of cold. He didn't have no mink coat. He didn't have no fur coat. He was real cold. Everything that was over there was frozen. I'm going to be through in just a minute. Everything that was over there was frozen. So Paul said, okay, look, you guys, what we're going to do, hey, cuz, you come to start this fire, and I'm going to go and get some sticks to kindle the fire. And so what happened in the text was, Paul went to the fire. He thought he grabbed a pile of sticks, but once he got to the fire, it was just a snake. And I wish you hit it with everything you got. And so in life, many times, we thought we picked up a stick, but it turned out to be a snake.